All right. Good afternoon, everybody. We've moved from to having no in-person media briefing, which seems like a prudent measure in keeping with the current directives around social distancing and following the lead of the provincial government. So thank you to media for your cooperation, and bear with us as we switch the format to take questions remotely. I want to begin by extending ongoing gratitude to Jacques and to Erica and the entire staff team at the municipality who continue to help us manage through these unprecedented times. I also want to acknowledge council colleagues. We work to keep the council team informed, and we're relying on our council members as conduits to the concerns faced by residents, service providers, and the businesses throughout all of our communities. I can tell you that we just finished a conference call with councillors, and I think every councillor but one was able to join us. So there are a few new things today, with many of the details will come from CAO Jacques Dube. We've heard a variety of concerns around parking enforcement, and a number of councillors have raised this. I'm pleased that we're moving today to stop collections at parking meters and discontinue enforcement in time-restricted spaces. Jacques will provide additional details. It's certainly our hope that people will realize that those who are working in the health system and those who are doing good work, delivering to people in need and trying to help with this situation get priority. The change reflects the community sentiment that greater flexibility is required to meet parking needs for those folks or those seeking to isolate, and particularly to those who are working to be supportive of vulnerable residents. I'm heartened by the number of people who continue to raise concerns for the vulnerable members of our community, including those who struggle from homelessness or precarious shelter. We're working closely with our colleagues at the province and the federal government to find workable shelter options that meet the need for safe accommodations, including flexibility for isolation as needed. And we will have much more to say about that in the near term, and I know it's something that all of our council colleagues have been concerned about. Supporting our most vulnerable citizens at this difficult time is a priority for me, for council, our entire team, and allow me to thank Denise Schofield for her hard work on this issue with her colleagues at the province. It's natural to be worried about personal finances and carrying business costs at this time. We're working on measures to help that Jacques will share. I have spoken, and council colleagues and staff have spoken to a number of small business people who've closed their doors, closed their businesses, or face overwhelming challenges. We at the municipality want to be helpful, and I believe that we will. I also want to highlight that I'm humbled but not surprised by the number and variety of community initiatives that have sprung up to help seniors, children, those who are health compromised, people with accessibility needs through what promises to be an incredibly challenging time. I want to thank everybody who has come up with ways to keep others company, to help meet their basic needs, and to remind us that kindness and compassion is the hallmark of the Halifax Regional Municipality. I want to just identify a few organizations who are working in community response. The Errand Squad, New Life Community Church Prospect, running errands for those in self-isolation and high risk. The Veterans Committee, who are doing grocery shopping, supply deliveries for those self-isolating. Musgo Rider, offering free delivery from local grocery stores to homes for those who are self-isolating. Groceries left on the doorstep, no interaction with drivers. I want to thank Dal Health students who are offering free childcare, pickups, drop-offs of items, errands to healthcare or hospital workers. Stonehearth Cafe, one of the great social enterprises capable of putting together large orders of basic sandwiches or breakfast items and providing delivery if there's a need. And Local Taxi Driver, which is a driver offering free rides to the hospital, free delivery of medicine and groceries. And we will share some of those on social media if you're interested in following up. Continues to be a very challenging time, but we continue to be inspired by the attitude, the commitment, and the compassion of our citizens and businesses in the Halifax Regional Municipality. I'll now ask CAO Jacques Dube to go through some of the operational items. Jacques?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Merci, Monsieur le Maire. Good afternoon, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. I want to, first of all, thank our residents and our employees for your ongoing efforts to help reduce the spread of COVID-19. Un grand merci à tout le monde pour vos efforts à réduire la propagation du COVID-19. The municipality is obviously further adjusting delivery for some services, but I would like to again remind everyone that there are no reductions in public safety services. Il n'y a aucune réduction des services de sécurité publique à l'instant. On veut vous assurer de ce fait-là. All essential services, including 311, fire, and police, are fully operational and continue to adhere to the most updated guidance and precautions from health officials. Some of the larger adjustments being made today are as follows. During this challenging time, we understand the pressure some businesses and residents are facing related to property taxes. The municipality is looking at alternative payment options related to property taxes due April 30th. On comprend sûrement des défis que tout le monde fait face à l'instant vis-à-vis de la taxe foncière. Et on est en train de regarder des options ou des solutions afin d'aider la population dans cet effet-là, que ce soit résidentiel ou commercial. Et on va apporter des suggestions au Conseil dans les semaines à venir. To be clear, no decisions have been made yet in that regard in terms of property taxes, but decisions will be communicated to taxpayers in advance of the deadline of April 30th, and we'll focus on addressing the needs of businesses and residents. If you have any questions at the moment regarding property taxes, we have a dedicated email line. It's proptax@halifax.ca. I'd urge you to send your questions in through that means, and we will answer your questions as we move forward. And at this time, we will obviously not be speculating on options being considered, but I can assure you that this is a priority of the municipality, as the Mayor has pointed out, and we will let taxpayers know as soon as a decision is made by Regional Council. On veut vous assurer que la question de la taxe foncière et la date limite pour le paiement est une priorité pour le Conseil. On veut vous assurer qu'on va apporter et dévoiler les décisions que le Conseil municipal va entreprendre d'ici quelques semaines. So beginning tomorrow morning, Halifax Transit ferry service will be reduced to a 30-minute service on both routes. Nos traversiers sur nos deux routes vont être réduits au service de 30 minutes à partir de demain. Accessible bus passengers are being asked to limit trip requests to essential trips only, including doctor's appointments, medical services, and dialysis, and prescription pickups. Residents and visitors who are feeling ill are asked to please avoid using all transit services until their health has returned to normal. On demande tous nos résidents et visiteurs qui se sentent malades d'éviter d'utiliser nos services communs en transport jusqu'au temps que votre santé est remise au normal. With regards to parking, parking fees at meters in the municipality have been waived, and Hotspot will not accept payment until further notice. On a éliminé les frais au parcomètre et les frais de Hotspot, la solution Hotspot de stationnement ne sera plus acceptée jusqu'à nouvel ordre. The enforcement of hourly spaces and monthly parking has also been suspended for the time being. La mise en vigueur de nos espaces horaires et les permis mensuels ont été suspendus jusqu'à nouvel ordre. Residential permits will still continue to be enforced, however. Your residential permit has recently expired. You will not receive a ticket. We'll simply roll over that ticket to the following month. We're also asking residents to please be considerate of the duration of parking throughout the municipality to allow those who are in greatest need to gain access. With the closure of all customer service centers and online service to receive construction permit applications under development, and is expected to be operational early next week. The application deadline for community grants programs, as well as the tax relief for not-for-profit organizations programs, has been extended until May 15th. Avec la fermeture de nos centres de services, il y a un service en ligne qui est en train de se développer et sera mis en vigueur la semaine prochaine. Et l'heure est tombée pour nos programmes d'aide aux organisations communautaires et nos organisations à but non lucratif ont été remis au 15 de mai. As we continue to remind employees, there are no changes to municipal employee payroll. Payments to vendors and suppliers will continue, as well as procurement tenders. You can continue to stay fully up to date on all updates from the municipality on our website at halifax.ca, coronavirus. Thank you again for your efforts to help reduce the spread of COVID-19. I'll now hand it over to Assistant Chief Erica Fleck. Erica.
Thank you, CAO. Good afternoon, everybody. Our Emergency Operations Centre will continue to operate, and we adjust daily to the issues that arise. These issues are addressed daily with our senior leadership team every morning when we meet, and including Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and today again discussing with the councillors later on. We are currently working on coordinating our efforts for volunteers and those in need of deliveries. As the Mayor mentioned, there are quite a few opportunities there, and we will have more information on this by Monday, again to coordinate the efforts. We have also developed a community info sheet that we will be sending out and posting on library doors, rec centers, and for those citizens who do not have readily access to the internet on a daily basis. Again, we encourage for everyone to check on your neighbors, your friends, and your family, as it can be lonely being self-isolated, and we need to ensure that everyone's well-being is being monitored. Thank you.
Thank you, Assistant Chief. I think we have some questions that have been sent over to us. Nick?
Yeah, we have some media questions that were sent in to us. For transparency, we'll read them in full. Some of them have already been addressed, but we're going to start with Eloise from Radio Canada, who's asked for a response in French as well. What is the city's reaction to Irving Shipyard's announcement that it will suspend its operations?
I'll let the CAO answer that in French. It's the right decision. We respect the fact that organizations are closing down to enforce social distancing and recognition of COVID-19. So I think it's the right decision, and it will have repercussions throughout the supply chain. People need to understand that, but it's the right decision, and so I commend Irving Shipbuilding for making that decision. Jacques, en français?
Merci, Monsieur le maire. C'est sûrement un défi pour ceux et celles qui travaillent dans cette entreprise, mais c'est la bonne décision face à la réalité qu'on est dedans. La compagnie Irving sont des gens responsables, ils prennent des décisions responsables et qui sont nécessaires dans nos jours.
From Elizabeth McSheffrey at Global News. Any additional consideration given to declaring a local state of emergency since yesterday, given the additional cases in Nova Scotia?
So the local state of emergency is something we discuss every morning. Assistant Chief Erica Fleck is in constant contact with the province. It remains a possibility that we will have to declare a local state of emergency. Whatever we would do, number one, in discussion with the province, and number two, in light of what powers does that give us that we don't have already. So far, we've been able to make very dramatic changes without declaring a local state of emergency. If we need to do it, we will.
Also from Global, does the municipality believe liquor stores in Nova Scotia should close following PEI and Newfoundland's lead?
I think that the province have been taking strong measures in Nova Scotia. Certainly already they've reduced liquor store hours. And I think that following the direction of people like Dr. Strang and Dr. Watson-Creed, I have faith in their decision to make the right decisions. Not everybody in every province is making the same decisions, and I don't condemn anybody else's decisions, but I have great confidence in those who are making the decisions here in Nova Scotia.
One final question from Global. Can EHS provide an update on the number of police officers, paramedics, and firefighters currently in self-isolation, and how many have tested from each group?
I'll let the Assistant Chief take that.
Mr. Mayor? So we won't comment on EHS. Obviously, they belong to the province, but for firefighters and police, we wouldn't give out numbers due to privacy concerns. But as the CAO, and I believe the Mayor also mentioned as well, there are no issues with maintaining our essential services in both departments.
From Matthew Moore at News 95.7. I believe this has been addressed, but perhaps we can reiterate. What alternative measures are being considered regarding property taxes?
As the CAO indicated, I think every councillor and members of our staff recognize that we need to be helpful at this point in time. And so we're going to consider all the measures, not only what measures we can take, but what we need to do to make those changes. There's any number of options. There's what we do with interest rates, there's what we do with deadlines, there's what we do with payment due. And all of those are going to be considered. We recognize the significant measures coming from the federal government, and those we come from the province as well. And I think we sort of want to see how those play out, but we definitely want to support our residents and our small businesses at a difficult time.
Also from News 95.7. Any discussions of eventually pulling buses off the road?
I'll speak to that, and the CAO may wish to speak to that as well. Dave Regie is here. He's been working extremely hard with his team and with the ATU to find the right balance. And people need to understand that we have to protect the safety, the health and safety of our employees is of paramount importance to us. But like every city that has a public transit system, it is the lifeline for many populations, and particularly many vulnerable populations. So the ridership is down on the buses, on the ferries, and on the Accessa bus. We certainly want to make sure that for those who most require transit, that we are there as well as we can be for as long as we can be, and that's something that we discuss every day as well.
And one final question from News 95.7. Can you discuss what parking measures will still be enforced? Can people still call 311 to report illegal parking?
I think I'm pleased with this parking decision. I've heard stories anecdotally and firsthand of people who have been good Samaritans in the community trying to help, who've ended up with parking tickets. So this is not a time for us to be making it more difficult for people to do good things. I think with the closure of bars and restaurants, salons, and so many other things in the community, that the streets will be less crowded. So from a meter point of view, that allows us the flexibility at some expense, but it's the right thing to do, not to ticket people. But all other parking measures, parking in handicap zones, no parking spots, even loading zones and things like that, those things that affect safety will be enforced. And so the last part of the question, Nick, was about who to call? 311.
You can still call 311.
I don't know that answer. Yeah. People can still use the 311 line to call in those kinds of issues. And again, it's a matter of balance. Every time we try to do something to help somebody that may have a negative impact on neighborhoods, and we're sensitive to that.
And those are all the questions that we've received to our email address, and we just like to let media know that as this situation develops, we're continuing to look at options to get your questions in here in real time. Thank you.
So just in closing, again, to recognize the times that we're in, and we look forward to hearing what new is happening with the province, the update on how many people have tested positive and the testing that continues overall. People need to understand that this is still a difficult time. We are nowhere near beating this. We will beat it, but it will require the effort of all people. As mayor, I continue to be very proud of those I hear of and who I experience who are doing good things in our community. And I would say in closing, there are nobody in our community deserves derision simply from where they were born or where they came from. And I think it's really important that we all understand that we're all in this together. It's an opportunity for everybody, for us collectively, but everybody individually, to do the right thing and to work with fellow citizens to get through a difficult time, which we will do. I thank you all very much.